izquierda, mira a la derecha. ¿Qué ves? ¿Dónde estás? In a world that seems to change daily, what will you do next? Welcome to the Next Steps Show with Peter Vazquez, a starting point for discussion y un poco de dirección. Mira. See, listen. Leadership is proven when no one is watching. See, today is not about politics, but principle. It's about trust, integrity, and who will serve Irondequoit. See, with accountability, with courage, when the spotlight fade. Mira, think about that. See, because today's debate is where words meet truth and promises are going to face realities. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Next Step Show. Aquí con Peter Vazquez. Always an honor to spend this time with you, ladies and gentlemen. And today we're going to do things a little bit different. See, over the next hour, we're going to hear from two candidates. Mira, interviewing to be your next town supervisor for the town of Irondequoit in New York State. See, the Honorable Lieutenant Colonel retired Andraé Evans, the incumbent and write-in Democrat candidate. The Honorable Lieutenant Colonel retired Anthony Costanza, former town assessor and Republican candidate. Ladies and gentlemen, please note, we also did invite the town board member and endorsed Democrat candidate John Perticone, but he declined to participate. Now, candidates have not been provided any questions in advance. All topics and questions will be presented for the first time right here on live radio in studio C to ensure fair, transparent, and authentic debate. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have rules, guys, right? And these are the basic rules, gentlemen. Each of you will have 2 minutes to introduce yourself and a closing statement at the end. You will have 60 seconds to answer each question and 30 seconds rebuttal, but understand those 30 seconds are going to be at my discretion. There's no crosstalk. With respect, you will only speak when asked a question and providing a rebuttal. We will rotate questions by segments, okay? And of course, the station does reserve the right to cut the mic for time and decorum as needed. Gentlemen, are you ready?
Ready.
Wonderful. Andraé, we're going to start with you, sir. If we may, the 2-minute introduction.
Good evening, good afternoon, excuse me. I'm Andraé Evans. I'm the current town supervisor of Irondequoit. I am a father of 2, Ariel and Gabriel. I'm a husband of Kristen. We've been together for 40 years. I am known as a Lieutenant Colonel, United States Army, but I've also worked as a mentor, as a community advocate. I was a financial advisor when I decided to retire the first time and put away my business in order to go back on active duty to serve on 9/11 and serve for 15 additional years above my 20 because my nation needed me. And that kind of wraps up who I am. I am a public servant. I'm not a politician. I work for the people. I respond to the people, and I serve the people. I don't serve party politics. I don't serve kingmakers. I serve and work for the people. My goal is to continue developing Irondequoit, to look at our business and improve businesses, improve that response, improve the infrastructure, which is crumbling, improve how we go about building a community that truly lasts a lifetime and is truly responsive to the community needs. And with that, I'll yield my time.
Thank you, Mr. Costanza. 2 minutes.
Thank you. Anthony Costanza, the Republican candidate for Irondequoit Supervisor. I love what you said, Mr. Vazquez, that this is an interview. Andraé and I are here in the studio providing access to the people because this is an interview. And the job at stake is the supervisor job of Irondequoit. It speaks volumes, first of all, that John Perticone's not here. That's first and foremost. Have the integrity to step up and speak to the constituents that you wish to lead. With respect to my resume, yes, this is a job. We're applying for a job. I have given you my OPRs, my officer performance reports to substantiate the things that I'm going to say. In my last years as a commander and a comptroller in the military, I was overseeing $4.8 billion, which is 900 times the budget of that in Irondequoit, okay? So My OPR, signed by a Major General, reads as such on the last line, that my leadership and stewardship is the benchmark. I navigated unprecedented funding turbulence, and I drove innovation. And he recommended me for the next step, which was to work at Headquarters Air Force. So having said that, this is what Irondequoit needs. We need innovation because from my perspective, Irondequoit, the citizens of Irondequoit have been sold out over the years, not 1 year, not 3 years, but over decades, to special interests, to commercial interests, and then 95% of the people in Irondequoit haven't been represented by the leaders that have led them. Okay, so Andraé and I are both for the people. I've said this on the show last week, and I'll say it again. If you're a millionaire living on Rock Beach Road, my message is probably not going to resonate with you because that's not who I'm advocating for. Irondequoit is diverse, and I want all Irondequoit folks and citizens and residents to thrive, and I'm going to do my best to make it a fair place such that everyone enjoys quality of life and the quote-unquote town of a lifetime.
All right. Andraé, you served in the military for 35 years in the United States Army, correct?
Correct.
Wonderful. What specific practices from command leadership would you carry into day-to-day town operations, and how will the residents see the difference within your first 90 days or 60 seconds?
So the first thing I'll bring is integrity. Doing the right things for the right reasons, especially when nobody's looking. The second is selfless service, working for the people, putting what I believe is beneficial to me aside, and working for what is right for everyone else. I am last. In fact, I'm not even in consideration. It is what works for the people. The next thing I'll bring is innovation. A lot of people think the military is do as I say, but officers don't work that way. We look at what could be done differently, what could be improved on, and how do we build a system that will last for a lifetime, that will extend past my command, looking at 3 or 4 commands deep.
Anthony, would you like to respond 30 seconds, or would you like
No, innovation is definitely what's needed in Irondequoit. Let me give you a quick stat. Irondequoit is one of the top municipalities in Monroe County with non-taxable organizations within the town. That is something that we should applaud because we welcome that and we need that. But at the same time, you also have to have revenue generating entities to offset the fact that there's a lot of folks that are getting tax breaks. So whether it's tax breaks, comitas, we need to put the people of Irondequoit first because, like I said, they've been neglected for far too long, and we have to come up with a good mix of innovation.
Anthony, Irondequoit currently has only about 51 police officers for roughly 52,000 residents. You've applied for federal congressional grants. Up to 10 to 15 officers are going to be added. You're looking at building a trade arts science training center. How would you use that military management experience to scale up, right, staffing, recruit, and train those officers in accelerated projects like accessible parks that you have proposed?
Well, first, that's one of the proposals that we have is to expand the police officers for the amount of volume that we do in the town of Irondequoit. Every day, it is estimated that the town of Irondequoit doubles and sometimes triples its population. As people come in for work, we have the largest banking industry. So my proposal is to apply for federal grants to get more police officers to improve safety. Second, basic application is looking at the character of the person that's being hired and making sure that every police officer responds totally to the people and works within the chain of command to effectively make the people safe. The second part of your question again was?
The second part of the questions was the accessible parks.
Yeah, accessible park. I built.
And your time's up on that one, sir. Mr. Costanza, okay. What problem only, excuse me, sir, I apologize. You have said you corrected thousands of property assessment errors as assessor and used a licensed independent appraisal to reassess your own home, yes?
Correct.
What specific deliverables, if you can, with dates, will you publish within your first 100 days?
Within the first 100 days, it's going to be about looking under the hood, you got to lift up the hood and see where we're at. We've been trying to do that via the FOIL process, but unfortunately, a select few, and I don't think it stems from Andraé, have prevented us from seeing the inner workings of what's going on. The deliverables are going to be being more transparent. I'd like a line item budget going forward such that we could track dollars all the way from how they're taken in with respect to revenue and taxation, the levy, and then how they're expended. And just changing some things around. I'll give you an example. During town hall meetings, rather than having us sitting up there at the top looking down at the people, being more accessible to the people, maybe sitting down at their level and trying to remove the stigma that the town is acting in an adversarial fashion with the citizens.
Very good. Thank you on that one. You reduce your home valuation, right, using an outside appraisal. We talked about that, yeah? Step by step, can you tell us, how was that compliant? How was that compliant?
Sure. Well, the first thing is I reached out to New York State. So before I did anything with respect to my own home, I reached out to the New York State officials of the real property and basically talked to them to make sure I had the jurisdiction and the authorization to do what I was doing. I actually requested an outside assessor to come in and conduct the evaluation of my own home, and they denied that. So it was under their recommendation that I use no discretion, and that's why I was led to using the number of an appraisal and not using my own number, using my own calculations. Over.
Mr. Evans, do you want a rebuttal?
Yeah, I concur with that. When the issue came up from a resident, I looked at this, and Anthony did follow all the right procedures. I actually did 2 investigations on him, one from an IG that manages taxes and also from an auditor. So what Anthony says was correct. We found that there was nothing that he did. It was a public relations nightmare. But what everyone was looking at wasn't Anthony lowering his taxes. It was Anthony's veterans benefits kicking in from 2 years earlier when he applied for them. Irondequoit is very supportive of veterans and our police. And so what they were looking at wasn't Anthony lowering his taxes. They were looking at veterans benefits.
Sir, an independent investigation, and this question is for Andraé. An independent investigation led to a censorship and mandated training. Have you completed that training, sir?
I have taught sexual harassment training for over 35 years. And the answer to that, in short, is yes, I completed the training multiple times because I also have been part of multiple organizations that I belong to and I volunteer for. So the request from the town board was for me to get a paid sexual harassment trainer to drain me of resources. And they suggested something like the number was astronomical. So that was not done. So that's where I'm at.
All right, a follow up on that. So with affidavits from 4 women, right, describing sexual comment and retaliation, sir, when reelected or if reelected, what measurables, safeguards will you implement to prevent future issues and really rebuild staff trust?
Well, first, I want to say that I can't speak to the particulars, but I absolutely categorically deny that those statements were made, period. It just didn't happen. So what people have been asking me to do is to defend actions that never happened. All lynchings be in the same way. Someone accused someone and then a mob gets up in a row. Then you find out that the person that was just lynched was totally innocent of the crime. And that's where we are today. And that's the kind of atmosphere that has been brought. They're relying on old models of fear and anger. And if you have to resort to fear and lies to win an election, then you should never, ever be near the source of power.
We got about 10 seconds left. What can you implement to prevent this and rebuild public trust?
A strong ethics board, strong ethics policy, strong ethics training for the manager, and managerial training for our managers to make sure that they uphold the high standards of ethics, which currently they're not.
Anthony, 30 seconds.
On the same topic, sir?
Yes.
you have to have a strong ethics policy for sure. I didn't know there to be any problems within how the town of Irondequoit was operating. So I'm somewhat ill prepared to speak on what I would do differently because I worked there for 10 months and I didn't see this happening. So I'm caught off guard by that. But if I may, could I go off for 1 second? I just want the listening people to know that I'm trying to win a race and Andre's trying to win this race. There's no collusion here. I'm not fighting for him. He's not fighting for here. But we are both men of honor, and we will say things with integrity, and we're not going to throw each other on the bus on things that are incorrect. So I know I went a little off script there, but I don't see that we have a harassment problem within the town.
And that's okay that you went off script. So let me just throw or more clarity to the question that I wanted to follow up on, if you can. What would you do, right, to ensure that something like that never happens again to yourself or any other administration to restore public trust?
Excellent.
30 seconds.
And we did think about that. And one of the first things I want to do is get a body cam and put it on myself and wear it all day long, because I will not fall victim to anyone else's agenda, and I will provide full transparency. If I have to do that wearing a body cam all day, then so be it. If I have to put a camera inside my office, obviously we'll have to, close the audio on sensitive topics, but provide absolute transparency such that the public knows what we're doing and no one can get railroaded in the future regardless of who you are within the town of Irondequoit.
Mr. Costanza, you cite an 11% department cut as an assessor, and you pledge a 10% pay cut as supervisor, sir. What line items get trimmed, right, without degradation in addition to that from your budget?
Well, that's a first start. And just so you know, John Perticone refused to take the pay cut challenge, so I'll put that out there. The first line items, well, first of all, I'm going to be taking over in January on a budget that isn't my own. So I have to understand the lay of the land first. I think the procurement process is something that needs to be looked at, because in the past, I would say 5, 10, 15 years, we have a procurement process that doesn't lend itself to a lot of transparency. And I'll give you an example. We had a condemned house that was put up for bid, and one sole bidder bid on it and cost us, I think, $60,000 or $65,000 just to demo a house. And I think that nothing should be sole sourced. If we can't get multiple bidders, then we don't issue the contract and we wait till we have multiple competing bids.
Mr. Costanza, excuse me. I'm going to read this question to you, and I'm going to keep the acronyms in there. See, because one of the things that I see happening regularly is that language and acronyms get used, and the rest of us are like, I guess that makes sense to us. So explain what this means, and then answer the question, sir. Okay. You've championed PRD or COD to catch regressivity. See, how will you make those stats public? How often will you publish, and who audits those numbers? But first, what does that even mean to our listeners?
So you said PRD and COD?
Yes.
So
to catch regressivity. Yeah, I can't even pronounce it.
Geez, I'm not even familiar with those acronyms.
Regressivity, I think, is what the word is.
Regressivity. Thank you very much.
COD to me was always cash on delivery, and within the military it's like acronym city. So I can't lie to the listeners and know what those acronyms even mean.
Okay, so let me clarify. Those are price-related differentials, right, between 0.98 and 1.03 equitable, and the COD is the coefficient
of dispersion.
Yes.
Okay, you're talking about assessment type numbers. Yes. Okay, these are statistics that New York State put out there with respect to, they want to see your coefficient of dispersion is basically how far outside the bounds homes are from one another, similar homes. And so it's a measure of statistical analysis such that New York State produces this number to give the assessment a sense of validity, but it is not the end-all be-all number that can be used.
But how are you going to publish that to ensure that people like me can understand what that means, sir?
So really, what matters to you is your level of assessment, and not the PRD or the COD. The level of assessment is your assessed value to the market value of your home, because that's what translates into taxation. The PRD and the COD do not affect taxation.
Evans, 30 seconds.
Yes. So right now, what we have in Irondequoit, we have we have a disparity in how our properties are taxed. We're mainly 90% in the middle, or C. So what that means to residents is people on the lower end are paying too much, people on the upper end are not paying enough. So looking at that, our distribution curve, and making sure that the market value and the assessed value are closer. And that's simply going through the process of having a valid reassessment.
All right, let's have a little fun before we go to break here, sir. We'll get off the hot stuff, and when we get back, we'll keep going even deeper than that. Gentlemen, and I'll start with you, Mr. Evans. Pick either or. See, cut spending or grow revenue first.
Cut spending.
Mr. Costanza, more cops on hotspots or more analysis on crime data?
The first one should be more analysis on crime.
Mr. Evans, faster permits or lower permit fees?
Faster permits.
Mr. Costanza, sidewalks fixed first or potholes filled first?
Potholes.
Mr. Evans, paper agendas or digital packets?
Digital.
All right, these are yes or no. All right, we're just going to keep moving along. Will you publish a simple public dashboard to the town's KPIs in your first 90 days? Yes or no, Mr. Costanza?
Yes.
Will you veto a budget line that raises the town tax levy above inflation rate? Mr. Costanza?
Yes.
Will you commit to acknowledging every FOIA request within 2 business days? Mr. Evans, yes or no?
No, we have to follow the law.
Only yes or no. Will you support an independent audit on an assessment role? Yes or no, Mr. Evans?
Yes.
To both of you. Mr. Evans first. If the board passes a good idea from your opponent, will you adopt it? Yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Costanza?
Yes.
All right. Finish this sentence. No more than 7 seconds. The earliest dollar to save... the easiest dollar to save in the town budget is?
The one that's never spent.
Mr. Costanza?
My own salary.
The most overlooked neighborhood need is, Mr. Costanza?
Policing.
Mr. Evans?
Public housing.
The best way to keep property taxes stable is, Mr. Evans?
Cut spending.
Economic development in Irondequoit should look like, Mr. Costanza?
Double what it is right now.
All right, you ready for one more yes or no?
Sure.
I think we got a little bit of time left, right, Bob?
Oh, yeah. This is fun.
I thought it was. You know, we're getting kind of hot, and it's going to get even hotter and harder with the questions in the second break. Gentlemen, these are policy yes or no, right? No explanation, right? We could follow up. Term limits for town-wide offices. Mr. Costanza?
Yes, I support that.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Publishing unit cost or the cost per plowed mile.
Yes, I support that.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Automatic fees sunset unless rejustified every 3 years.
Yes.
Yes.
Body worn cameras of all sworn officers.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Nate, we got time still?
Yeah, go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
All right. Oh, we got plenty of time. I'll let you guys have a little bit more time to answer. Let's say 20-second on these ones. See? Okay. Name 1 metrics you publish monthly or will publish monthly that our opponent hasn't mentioned at all ever during their tenures in whatever it is that they did in town, because both of you are town employees and worked together.
Economic development. Publish the sales tax that we get from the county. Data and statistics on the true crime of Irondequoit, because I think the perception is a lot higher than it actually is. And also I will report on any changes within the staff, fees, and policy changes that are there.
All right. Mr. Costanza, same question.
Sure, I'd like more fidelity on actual crimes committed and what's going on with respect to criminal activity and the police reporting of that. And I'd like a top-down public view of salaries by position, not by name.
Wonderful. If we can do this here really quick, I'm going to shorten your time to 10 seconds on this one right before we go to break. See, one way you will include people who didn't vote for you. 10 seconds.
Form committees across the board on different topics from budget to economic development.
Mr. Costanza?
Affect their pocketbook that's the best way to show somebody from the other side that you care about them.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Next Step Show. See here on the Voice of Liberty Network with Peter Vazquez, and we have today a debate, between two candidates interviewing to be your next town supervisor for the town of Irondequoit. While we go to break, don't change this dial, but ponder this thought. Proverbs 29 verse 2 says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn, and you have the control. We'll be right back right here on WYSL WLEA.
She tried so hard to keep, and with the new day's dawning, she felt it drifting away. Not only for a cruise, not only for a day.
Radio home of the Bonnies. WYSL. Avon, Rochester, WLEA, WLEA FM, Hornell, New York. FM Talk. Canisteo Valley Update.
Coming up Monday morning at the Steuben County Legislative Meeting, county lawmakers will vote on whether to increase tipping fees at the county landfill in Bath. Also, Steuben County Legislative Chair Kelly Fitzpatrick says the lawmakers are concerned these days about the government shutdown and the LIHEAP, the low-income heating program, as well as SNAP benefits.
We are keeping a very close watch on the government shutdown. Most of our operations are not affected by this, but the big concern is for SNAP benefits and for HEAP benefits. If the government isn't going to supply funds for those programs, we are very concerned about many of our local constituents who take advantage of that program.
Steuben County Legislative Chair Kelly Fitzpatrick there. I'm Brian O'Neill for the Voice of Liberty.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center. Today, mostly dry and cool in the morning, followed by scattered light lake rain showers this afternoon with highs in the low 50s. Tonight, some more lake rain is possible with temperatures getting down to the upper 30s inland and low 40s near the lakeshore. Then Saturday, mostly cloudy with a brief lake shower possible near midday, followed by drier weather and highs in the low 50s. I'm meteorologist Nate Morris for the Voice of Liberty.
When you think chicken, think Stearns Poultry Farm Stores. Stearns Poultry Farm Stores with 2 locations, Seneca Street, Hornell, and Route 244 in Alfred Station. Stearns, the best chicken in these parts.
So the Alfred Sun was started in 1883 by Frank Crum.
Quite frankly, it was a crummy newspaper.
Well, when it started, the Allegheny County Democrat newspaper said, quote, "The Alfred Sun is as lively as the hind legs of a mule and as sharp as the weapon of a hornet, and that it should shine and kick and sting to the end of time," end quote.
And it's still shining, still kicking, and still stinging after all these years.
Since 1976, it's been operated by Dave Snyder.
Yeah, and it seems to get Snyder every week it's published.
It comes out every Thursday.
Yep, in Alfred, the Sun comes out once a week. You'll find local news, local opinion, local obituaries, news of the colleges, news about the Alfred Almond community, plus cartoons, puzzles, weather, and sports.
Pick up a copy today. The Alfred Sun is on sale now at Wegmans, 7-Eleven, Dollar General, and Arkport Surefine. The Alfred Sun. Pick up a copy today.
Cats, Halloween is just a shot away. It's time to pick your persona, and it's time to create your perfect costume. Alley Cat Boutique has everything you need to make your costume unique and complete. Capes, wands, tiaras, hats, jewelry, furs, and masks. Every accessory for the pirate, the princess, the mermaid, the queen, the showgirl, the fairy, the flapper, the gangster. You can create your own look. There's so much to choose from. Alley Cat Boutique is your local Halloween shop. Stop in. Open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 11:30 to 5:30. 5604 Big Tree Road, Lakeville, across from Minahan's. See you there, cool cat.
Hi, my name is Greg Sadwick, and along with my son Zach, we are the owners of Flower City Collision. We've been advertisers on WYSL the voice of liberty, for the last couple of years. So I want to thank the listeners of WYSL for their patronage, which has allowed us to grow and reinvest in the latest technologies to ensure that your vehicles are repaired to the most current standards, whether conventional or EV. If you're in a collision, reach out to Zach at Flower City Collision in Henrietta, and he'll work with your national insurance company on your local behalf to ensure that your repair gets done right.
Do you owe your honey a date night? Youth for Christ Rochester has you covered. Comic Relief 2025 is on Saturday, November 8th at the prestigious Country Club of Rochester, featuring nationally recognized clean comedian Dan Viola. 6 p.m. reception, 7 p.m. enjoy a remarkable meal, and at 8 p.m. start laughing. $95 ticket, $180 a couple. Go to yfcrochester.org/comic. That's yfcrochester.org/comic.
Our final regular season broadcast of high school football this year features the Avon Riverhawks hosting the OAE Aggies in a Class B league contest. We'll have live coverage starting with the pregame show at 6:40, so be sure to tune in for all the action here on the Voice of Liberty.
Peter Vazquez and Next Step Show on the Voice of Liberty.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Next Step Show. Yep, you are here listening to the debate between, or really the discussion, right? Hearing answers, dialogue. What a concept. See, interviewing. I love that word, gentlemen. We have Lieutenant Colonel retired, Anthony Costanza, former town assessor and Republican candidate, and the Honorable Lieutenant Colonel Andraé Evans, the incumbent and write-in Democrat candidate. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us. Gentlemen, thank you again for your time today. Shall we get right back into the questions?
We're ready.
All right. This question goes to Mr. Costanza, sir. Jeeper Creepers. Mr. Costanza. Bob, I swear I still speak English.
Slow down, relax.
Easy. You know, I'm going to change things a little bit, and I know I promised, but I wanted to make sure we got to this question and got an answer from Mr. Evans and a rebuttal from you, sir.
Okay.
But this is important in my ability, right? So you're ready as a write-in candidate. My question is simple. What does that say for party support, and not just Irondequoit, but just in party in general, or when people run party politics?
Well, I want to say I've never really had party support. I ran. They didn't expect me to run. They didn't expect I won. They didn't expect me to win. They expected me to fail, and I did. I think I executed a 2-year plan in 1 year. They didn't really understand who I was, and they didn't understand that my passion was with the people. So I've always had the people support, not necessarily the party support. And you can look at that in and who contributed to me and how much money I didn't receive compared to the other candidates. I do want to say that because of that independent-minded thought process, I was probably targeted, and we're here now. So this election is about direct democracy. The people chose me. It's now time for the people to tell both parties what they want.
30-second response, Mr. Costanza?
Sure. With respect to my party support for me, myself, or for Andre's?
Just party support in general, or even for Andre.
Okay. Well, with respect to me, I've said this before, and I came over as an independent because for the 25 years that I was in the military, I really didn't take political sides. I'm new to the political environment. We started off with a very small contingent of Republicans that took me on because they saw me as a credible person with a really good track record of experience, education, and things that matter to people. And we've grown this into a grassroots movement that is unique in and of itself. Our campaign slogan is "Time for Change." I'm focused on the people of Irondequoit, and yes, I'm on the Republican side. I resonate with fiscal responsibility, but I can see taking the pros and cons of all parties. And
thank you very much, sir. But Mr. Costanza, on another question, can you explain why voters should trust your ethics and what transparency you will apply to your to yourself, to your office if elected?
60 seconds.
60 seconds.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I hold myself to the utmost ethics. Okay, so I have a TSSCI, as does Andre. We don't get that clearance in the military because we do wrong. The whole reason this ethics issue came up is because I wasn't allowed to to speak my piece and show the people what's going on. But I will show them in court, and I'll get exonerated, and we'll put that ethics piece to bed. But ethics is the cornerstone of everything we do. You do right, whether anyone's looking or not, and that's the standard. There's no leeway for that.
Thank you. 30 seconds, Mr. Evans.
So what I did was the ethics board was broken, so I had to wait to hire the right people on the ethics board. I gave the instructions to the head of the ethics to design an ethics policy and an ethics program that would teach everyone what ethics is all about.
Thank you. Mr. Evans, Mr. Costanza, with property crime pressures, what concrete steps, not slogans, will you take, right? Staffing, data use, partnership, etc., not just to make things better, but to measure progress as well, because people want to see the progress and feel it.
Sure. One of the things I believe in is creating a dashboard on the Irondequoit website so that we can track things live as complaints and issues come in. We basically have a running calculator of what we're taking in with respect to complaints, which complaints are getting solved, and basically having that dashboard live so that the people can see what's going on a day-to-day basis by line item.
30 seconds, Mr. Evans.
Number one, look at data. We establish neighborhood watch groups, neighborhood groups. Have a proactive policy of linking ring cameras to the police, and also go from a reactive code enforcement to a proactive code enforcement. Right now, codes don't get executed until someone complains. So go from a complaint department to an active department, and also linking our code and our fire marshal closer to our police department.
Mr. Costanza, the right to freedom, the right to privacy, the right to really kind of being able to commit a crime without the government, telling me that I can. I know that sounds kind of silly, but we live in a world, in a country where the Constitution is for all. How would you balance, sir? How would you balance safety with tyranny, or safety with the evasion of privacy? Just a little backdrop on that. Just this morning, Governor Hochul was in Rochester touting the progress in our safety program, but all that most, in my opinion, people heard, at least should have heard, in my opinion, is that more tyranny, more cameras, more overwatch. How would you balance freedom with good law enforcement?
60 seconds.
60 seconds.
So I believe in the Bill of Rights, okay? So they're, the right to free speech, bear arms, all these different things. So we have to govern and make sure that people that are violating laws and rules are caught, but at the same time, we can't intrude on their quality of life. So how we do that, set up a task force, be within the laws, whether the state laws or the federal laws, because there are guidelines on what we can and can't do. We can't eavesdrop, we can't wiretap unless we have valid reasons to do such things. But to really examine the things that we can do and just stick to the law and be transparent about what we're doing.
Mr. Evans, 30 seconds.
So first, I kind of agree with the cameras, but it's actually metadata. It's collecting data. Then only when a crime exists do you actually look at that data, making sure that data is purged on a time basis, 30 days, 60, etc. Understanding where the key crime areas is, be data driven by policy, and make sure that is also transparent, that the people have the right to see what's being collected, when and where.
Thank you. Mr. Evans, the Irondequoit Bay Harbor Management Plan notes that the entire perimeter of the bay is classified by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation as a Class 1 wetlands. The highest protection designation, right? State law requires permits for constructions with these wetlands and adjacent areas. How will you balance development with these protections?
I work with DNC all the time. I also have a couple of plans to enhance the waterway so that we can have and enjoy the waterway. And that's with DEC approval, understanding what DEC restrictions are, understanding what wetlands are. I am part of that commission as town supervisor. So the plans I've developed for improving the waterway actually fit within DEC, fits in within the regulations, and enhances the the protection for the watershed, which is unique to Irondequoit, and also for the wildlife that's there. So we can have good people development and also good wildlife and wetland development at the same time. It doesn't have to be an either or.
Mr. Costanza, 30 seconds.
Sure. The classification of that Class 1 wetlands goes further than it's not about prohibiting infrastructure and building. You have to realize that from an engineering perspective, building in those areas are very cumbersome and very costly. And there's environmental protection overlay districts, EPODs, one of those being steep slopes. So we're there to not only protect the environment, but these are areas that are cost prohibited to basically create infrastructure because of the natural resource and the natural landscape. So we follow the guidelines, but there's plenty of other opportunities within Irondequoit to develop. So this wouldn't limit our ability to move forward.
Thank you very much, there, Mr. Costanza. Mr. Evans, you've proposed raising entry-level wages in Irondequoit to $18 an hour for part-time workers and $20 an hour for full-time employees, right? You applied for state funding for accessible playgrounds, skate parks, bathrooms at Little League fields, and backed a $4.2 million project to create a family justice center at Skyview to address domestic violence rates that nearly doubled, I believe, right, or twice. How will you pay for these initiatives, sir?
Well, the 20 and 18 has already been done. In fact, so if you come to work with the town of Irondequoit, the lowest paid worker pays at $18, $20 an hour, part-timers at $18. And I did that by reducing the budget, by being under budget for the year that we executed. So that's looking at waste, looking at redundant services, looking at redundant job titles, and cutting those back. So I actually improve wages and save the taxpayers money. The other programs, we use ARPA dollars to support the Justice Center. They're getting money from the federal grants. So I was able to bring better services to people, improve the quality of life for our workers, and part-time and full-time, and do that by cutting the budget.
Okay, but how do you ensure, a follow-up question, how do you ensure, right, the long-term operations without burdening taxpayers, sir?
I work on a 5-year plan and also do a 5-year regression analysis, looking at what things cost. So before it was really a guessing game, I've actually used real data. And also because my understanding of finance and finance market, both international and domestic, looking at the forecast for our national risk when it comes to finance, interest rates, politics, etc. Because understand risk management, applying those basic concepts to ensure future growth.
Mr. Costanza, I'll allow you 40 seconds in this response because of the follow-up question, sir.
Sure. With respect to doing more with the budget, one of the things I like to get away from is grants, because grants don't always live forever. The better way to make a community prosperous is to broaden the tax base with true addition to either residential or commercial properties, because once you broaden the tax base, that's something that lasts forever. Whereas grants are nice and they do help on a short-term basis, they don't last forever. So basically, I applaud the fact that we have pay raises, but we have to look at root cause analysis. We have to look at economies of scale. How does the government provide the same exact services or more, just be more efficient in executing the dollars that we do have?
Right, 10 seconds.
And that's what I disagree with. I think grants are great for the economy. It allows us to expand services and find ways to pay for while those grants existed. And also, there's limited.
Thank you, Mr. Costanza. I'm going to have to cut you off on that one. Mr. Evans, I meant Mr. Costanza. This term, I'd like you to define it, right, this phrase, in policy terms. The phrase is discrimination to fix injustice.
It's about hiring the right person with the right credentials that's going to do the best job for the people.
Okay, and a follow-up question, sir, and I'll give you 30 seconds on the follow-up, if I may, because I'd like to offer Mr. Evans an answer on that. Sure. How would that look like, right, when you apply it to hiring?
Because when we apply for hiring, we take all candidates that have the qualifications that we need for the job, and then we have HR panels that are put together to interview those people, and basically we score those people, and however they score, such that we have the best candidate providing the best service for the same amount of money is how we hire.
All right, thank you. Mr. Evans, same question, but let me restate it to make sure it's heard correctly. See, I would like you to define this phrase in policy terms, right? Discrimination to fix injustice.
That is in the hiring process. No one should be hired because of what they are, ethnicity, etc. However, where we look for our candidates make a difference. For example, we have a shortage on police officers. We have one black police officer, 2 Hispanic police officers. Are we recruiting in those areas where we can find black police officers? If we're only recruiting in the white areas, then that's a problem. So it's looking at getting equal qualifications, but looking at where we pull our candidates from more so than what they are.
Okay, a follow-up question, Mr. Costanza, 60 seconds on this one. What guardrails will you put in place to ensure that we are preventing reverse bias, what they refer to many as reverse racism?
Well, working hand in hand with the folks in HR. So we have an HR director that works at the town. He's my subject matter expert with this. We basically lay out the expectations, we lay out the qualifications in a transparent manner such that anyone coming to interview for a job within the town of Irondequoit can rest assured that if they are the most qualified person, they'll get the job.
Mr. Evans, 30 seconds.
I disagree with the term reverse racism. Italians and Irish were discriminated against because they were Italian and Irish. That's racism when they first came to this country. However, hiring the best people for the best job, for the right job, and making sure that they're qualified is where we look for our candidates. If we're only looking at suburban areas for a job and not looking at urban and the rural areas, then that's a problem. Is looking at all places and pulling the best candidates from a broad range of places.
But Mr. Evans, I do have a question, and this question is, and this really does apply to kind of both of you, right? Both of you have said at one point or another that an opponent helped drive a case against you. See, what evidence is there? Yes, I know we're jumping around, but see, the one thing that I want people to understand is that leaders need to think on their feet. You never know when the questions are going to come, and this isn't a softball debate, ladies and gentlemen. See, sir, what evidence do you have that there is an opponent driving a case against you? 60 seconds.
There was an investigation that was done. It was finished in November, and the opponent, in their own words, waited until the week of nomination to release the information. I can't talk about this, but I have to let the people know. I received a "we will embarrass you unless you resign" letter a few days before to force my resignation, and they didn't expect me to stand and fight because I did nothing wrong.
Mr. Costanza, 30 seconds, sir.
My opponent the other day on another interview spent his entire time speaking lies, and I'll give you some examples. He stated that the New York State Assessors Association would have found me guilty on an ethics violation, and I provided you in the studio the letter from New York State Assessors Association Council saying that they were not pursuing this ethics complaint. So that's just one of many things. We caught my opponent red-handed on the 4th of July on video, breaking Irondequoit Town law. Nothing was done about it. It's just a myriad of lies and slander for things that weren't done.
Thank you for your answer, sir.
Hang on just a minute, Peter. Mr. Costanza, your opponent, you're referring to Mr. Perticone.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, you don't want to make that clear. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you. Mr. Evans, this is 60 seconds. Yeah? The question is, this question. Rochester codified its sanctuary city policy in August 2025, prohibiting police from enforcing federal immigration laws, bearing inquiries from immigration status, and the use of city resources on immigration enforcement. The claim that research indicates sanctuary cities tend to have lower crime rates and a stronger economy, sir. Do you agree with that claim that sanctuary cities have lower crime rate and stronger economies? Yes or no?
I have no basis of knowing that. That's beyond my experience. So no, I can't say yes or no because I don't know the statistics.
Mr. Costanza?
Yeah, I'm not well versed on the numbers. but I don't believe that a city should impose its will on federal and state actions.
Last question, sir. Here, this is a yes or no question, sir. Will you direct the Irondequoit Police to cooperate with federal agencies such as ICE beyond emergency aid, or will you mirror the Rochester city limits? I guess you got to choose either or, not yes or no.
The answer is the position that Rochester took is actually the correct position. Local police cannot enforce federal laws.
No, my question wasn't support. My question was, will you direct the Irondequoit Police to cooperate with federal agencies such as ICE or other agencies in emergency aid, or will you mirror Rochester's limits?
Yes, they have to. Yes, they have to cooperate in emergency aid.
Mr. Costanza.
Yes, they have to, and they are already doing that at the present time. So it would be ridiculous to reverse something that is already occurring within our town.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to move into our closing statements. Gentlemen, thank you again for taking the time to join us. We're going to start with Mr. Costanza. Sir, 2 minutes on your closing statement.
Sure. First and foremost, thank you to everybody that facilitated this interview / debate, whatever you want to call it. This is a critical time in our country. We have a very polarized political environment, but I just want people to know that I come before you to try and get a job, which is being the supervisor of Irondequoit, to represent all Irondequoit people and to increase the quality of life of Irondequoit. As I said before, I have no political aspiration in moving up to executive, congressional level things. I'm getting involved because this is me caring as a person, being a servant leader, putting my time and energy into bettering the lives of the folks that I care about and the place that I grew up in, which is Irondequoit. I have a 10-and-a-half-year-old son. My goal from here on out is leave this planet a better place than when I found it. And that's the impetus for me getting involved in the politics. And I hope that shines through with the voters on November 4th. Thank you.
You have some time on the clock, sir. Contact information?
Our website is www.irondequoit1st.com. Feel free to go there. They can contact me via email, via phone call. We are open and highly transparent with the public. If people want me to come speak to them at their house, if they want mini town halls, I'll do whatever I have to do to answer to the public such that they can make a good decision come November 4th. You do your due diligence and vote accordingly.
Thank you very much, and thank you so much for the service that you have given this country. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Costanza. Mr. Evans, 2 minutes in your closing statement.
What I want the people to know is that with all the fanfare, I have no charges. I have no indictments. Why? Because nothing ever happened. If you cannot stand on the ground of truth, then you should never, ever be asked to lead the people or be a leader in the organization. I am fighting for the people. And you can watch the budget debates right now. I'm fighting for the people, and our opponent is fighting to preserve benefits for him and his friends. So I will continue to fight for the people, for the right choice. I am for the people. I'm from the people. I'm not from privilege. I'm not from any political select committee. I live in Irondequoit because it is the best town in all of New York State. We've won awards because we were the best town. We've won awards based on my safety policies because we're the best town. Environmental policies. You can have both things. And we also are still the number one place to buy a first home in the country. So I'm here for the people. I'm here to make sure that our town continues to be a town for a lifetime, continues to grow, and continues to prosper.
Contact information, Mr. Evans?
My website is vote Andraé, ANDRAE, Evans, EVANS.com. Vote AndraéEvans.com. ANDRAE means warrior, so it's cast from birth.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen, let's end this show the way we started. First of all, gentlemen, both, thank you so much for taking the time and talking with our voters. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, early voting starts tomorrow. Yep, starts tomorrow. Get in there, vote. Don't wait till the last minute. Who knows? You might break a toe or something like that and not make it. Remember this, today's debate is where words met truth and promises met reality. It's about this, siempre. Be a leader, be a leader, be a leader. God bless these United States of America. And mira, don't let 1 second go by where you are not a voice for liberty. That includes voting.
Soy cara de niño, con alma de hombre. Quiero amarte para siempre. So hot. She's a hot girl. Nothing hotter than a hot girl. She's hot with a face and a figure. Unexpected with human demeanor. Incendiary. You're